How's it going, everybody? I'm the BTC Reaper. My goal on this channel is to teach you how to reap the rewards of trading when the price is going up or down. SEC ordered to review Greyscale Bitcoin ETF application. In accordance with the judgment on August 29, 2023, this constitutes the formal mandate of this court, wrote Court of Appeals clerk Mark Wenger. The judgment relates to the Greyscale lawsuit against SEC from last year, in which the firm sued the agency for refusing to allow Greyscale's Trust GBDC to be converted into a spot Bitcoin ETF. The firm argued that the SEC's judgment was arbitrary and capricious given the firm's acceptance of similarly structured Bitcoin futures ETF products. So they're saying because there are similar other products, they should be able to get approved if you're not too familiar with what's going on. But more importantly, Blackrock takes an apparent new step in a Bitcoin ETF prepping. The world's largest asset manager continues to prep its proposed Bitcoin ETF, as segment observers have pointed to potential bullish signs that such products will be approved. BlackRock's planned iShares Bitcoin Trust is now listed on the Depository Trust and Clearing Corporation DTCC website. The planned fund's ticker is IBTC according to the listing. Bloomberg Intelligence senior analyst Eric Bacala said Monday that IBTC is the first proposed Bitcoin spot ETF listed on DTCC, a financial market infrastructure giant that processes trillions of dollars in securities transactions daily. BlackRock spokesperson said they were unable to comment due to the filing restrictions. Scott Johnson, an associate at Davis Polk & Wendell, noted that an updated S21 filing included a CUSIP for the product, a 9-character code that is needed to identify the North American security for clearing the settlement of trades. The filing also contained language that the seed creation baskets were to be purchased in October, subject to conditions, but did not specify a date or amount. So they're going to get approved this month and they're going to get funding this month pretty much. So BlackRock pretty much got the first ring in, much like I warned about. Over on Bitcoin, on our Dixie, we are starting to break here. We are breaking our support level as our market goes up. So you can see Dixie's going down a little bit, the rest of the market's pushing. They're supposed to be pretty correlated, but with the times of war, we could see a decoupling happen. RSI is starting to round away, stochastic is pushing out, that money flow is pushing down, our VWAP is pushing down on the daily, the momentum wants to break to the bearish side, so overall we are coming down to some support. I would watch if we get another red candle. Following this red candle, we have a manipulation X that wants to break us to the downside. Our next stop would be this yellow EMA and then our Fibonacci zone. If we're not able to make a bounce off those and break through this resistance area, it is very likely we could continue down. Our next major support area would be that other red EMA at 104. And then we have other lower channels. You can see we have candle wicks here in recent history. Then you can see back here we have some more stronger areas at 103, and then we just keep going down. 101's a pretty strong area, and then not so much around 99, but that's just for recent. So overall, we do look like we could see a break back down. I would watch lower areas. We do have these EMAs as supports, these Fibonacci levels as supports, so hopefully you make your Fibonacci zones, your Fibonacci retracements like our video shows. If not, you should get them on and get these EMAs on your market cipher here for trading view. Over on our total, we are getting a pretty good pump right to that golden pocket of our Fibonacci area. So this is another reason why you should have those Fibonacci areas. We are getting a reversal arrow though, so that does signal that we could see a drop off as we were pushing down. And we are pushing up currently, so we could see a reverse of this upwards action. We could get rejected by this zone. We are getting pushed down pretty violently, just knocked around all over. We can't quite get through that higher EMA. If we break through this higher EMA though, we would have some steam to really push up probably go up to this other Fibonacci zone around that 373. And then if we break through that, we do have other candles that we have right around this zone, around the 406. So we do have some higher zones we could hit. Our stochastic is starting to round off. Our RSI is running up though, so our RSI is pretty good. That stochastic, as long as it doesn't break down and become bearish, this RSI can sustain. That momentum wants to continue forward. That VWAP wants to come back down. Our money flow is trying to push off that neutral. So we do have some bullish momentum gaining here. If this money flow sustains this bullish momentum, we could continue forward and see higher price actions that I mentioned. But we do also have an area of resistance around the 674 for that money flow. So if we meet resistance here and start rejecting, it is very likely this could be a fake pump up and we could get a breakdown. Over on Bitcoin dominance, we are pumping up pretty good. We made a pretty solid move off that bottom. Our stochastic is rounding up pretty hard. Our momentum is getting a double red dot. That does want to bring us down, but we got a green dot trying to bring us back up. That VWAP is in the bullish territory, just zigzagging around, with that money flow maintaining bullish strength. So that is showing that we could continue this bullish trend forward. Over on Bitcoin futures here, we did wick into that zone that I warned about, around that 35K zone, and we are starting to pull back. So we technically wicked into that gap, and we could see this lower gap and other lower gaps. We have two right here, and then one down here. If we see no further green candles, it is very likely we will see a rejection from this gapped area, from this big downtrend, and price action will pull away, fill these other local gaps, and then fill this lower gap back here. You see, this gap was a bit older, so we filled that gap first. Now our oldest gap's going to be this one that we've been warning about, so it's very possible from here that we will see that push to 20K. Now that would depend on all this hype for like the Blackrock ETF being false news or something along the lines of that. We would need something pretty strong to knock us down from this rise we're getting. Our stochastic is rounding away, RSI is pushing up. Also, we are in times of war and other issues, so this could be just a big shock pump up that could get sucked back down after no one really invests, because it's really not a very sure time. So there's not much institutional investing as far as like you've seen during the bull market a couple years ago. Our RSI is heading up, momentum's pushing forward, that VWAP is maintaining, just zigzagging around. That money flow does want to go up. So if this money flow, or if this VWAP, can maintain favoring this bullish side, we could see this money flow continue to head up, and we could see price action continue forward and fill higher zones. Over on Bitcoin, we did push into our gap zone up here that we had marked out as well. So again, this could be a major wick into that zone. We are in our previous pattern, so if we maintain within this previous pattern, we could try to continue to trend up. I wouldn't really count on this pattern really breaking us back down, as technically we got a breakdown from here. But if we start bouncing around in it like we did back here, we could see a pull back from it. Maybe a maximum push to 40K. Our stochastic's starting to round away. RSI is pushing forward. Our momentum's continuing forward. That VWAP is continuing forward. Our money flow is continuing forward. So we do have bullish indicators. I would just exercise some caution, as we did pump up significantly. But if this would be the start of a bull market before a halving, which typically doesn't happen, then we could see continual price action up. RSI is heading up. Momentum is overall making somewhat divergences. We are trying to break out of bearish divergences, as we are trying to make a newer high. So that is positive. If we can sustain that, we could see this trend continue forward. but we are pretty maxed out, so I wouldn't really count on us riding the maxed out zone for too long. Our stochastic is running up, RSI is pushing forward, money flow is ramping up pretty decently, so we do have a strong bullish trend here on the 4 hour. Over on the 2 hour, stochastic starting to round away, our RSI wants to pump forward, that momentum is pushing forward pretty decently. Our money flow wants to continue forward. We are still within this bullish trend. Our VWAP still zigzagging around. We were favoring the bearish territory, but the bears did not manage to bring the money flow down. They brought the momentum down, but then the money flow and VWAP started to ramp back up and continue forward. So if we see this VWAP continue to favor the bullish side here, we could see the bulls win out. I would want to see some sort of a consistent high though. If we make a lower high, we could fold, make a lower low than this little peak in, which could kick off a bearish trend from here. So I would exercise some caution on that possibility. Over on the 1 hour, stochastic is rounding away. Our RSI wants to pull back. Our momentum is rounding away. Our VWAP is trying to make a decent break to the bullish side, but we're not getting very strong higher highs. We're pretty much hanging around this 15 and not getting above it. If we're not able to get above that zone, this trend may not last for too long. The money flow is bullish, it is pushing forward. It made a bounce off the bearish territory twice, but I would just watch out for it to break now that we have made a pretty substantial move forward. Over on graph for the daily, we'll zoom out, get our volume profile here. We have our point of control here. We want to move toward that point of control ultimately, bouncing off our value area low. Price action is coming back into our flag, so if we break through this resistance at that 9.5 area, then we could see price action continue forward and propel us up. This could be a double bottom that is forming here. It wouldn't have too strong of a push up. It might pull us up to right around this 10.9, so almost 11 cents, which would give us enough room to possibly pull to that point of control. If we made a cup and handle out of that, we could see some sort of goofy cup and handle with a goofy bottom push us forward and even higher than. But I would watch. Ultimately, the market did pump pretty violently, so I would watch for some sort of corrective move back down. Our stochastic is rounding away. RSI is pushing forward though. Our VWAP is making higher highs and continuing forward. Our money flow is maintaining this bullish territory. It's struggling to get above the 6.69 zone, so I would watch out. If it doesn't manage to break above the zone, we could fade away into a new bearish trend. I would break this value area low for this volume profile that we have. Our momentum wants to make bullish divergence and wants to push us forward, so if this money flow and VWAP sustain in the bullish territory, at least the money flow sustains in the green, and the VWAP fluctuates like we've seen to sustain the trend, we could see a push forward from that. Over on the 4 hour, we are trying to trend up. We are pushing pretty decently. This actually could be our cup here. If we came back down, made a bounce off this EMA, we could make some sort of handle that would try to propel us forward. If that were the case, that's a pretty decent move. I don't know where half our price action is. It's acting goofy right now. So we do have a pretty decent move if this were our cup here on the 4 hour rather than that daily cup. That could try to push us up to around that 10.4, so that would be a little bit of a lower point. Our stochastic does have bearish divergence. It is trying to make a rebound though, so it does have bullish strength. We are maintaining above the 30. RSI is maintaining bullish strength. That momentum could round away here as our VWAP is starting to struggle. If this VWAP struggles to maintain bullish strength, it's very likely we will roll over and eat up these gains. Our money flow is pushing pretty decently, but I would watch as we're struggling to get above a 19. That is a pretty overexhausted zone that we have fallen away from in previous history. Over on the 2 hour, we have bearish divergence on our stochastic and our momentum, so I would watch out for that. RSI is continuing forward. Our momentum wants to get a green dot as our VWAP is trying to cling to the bullish territory, so that is propelling us forward, and our money flow is running up pretty decently. If this sustains, we could see continual price action up, but keep in mind that the money flow is at 26 and that is a really high spot to be in, so it is likely we would get some sort of a retest or pullback. Over on the 1 hour, our momentum is starting to round away. Remember that news that I gave you pretty much just came out, so this is the reaction to that news I just gave you of that Blackrock ETF. Overall, if you liked the video, smash that like, hit the subscribe, and join us in the Discord. I love to see more of you there. We are getting bearish divergence on our momentum. Our momentum just has red dots all over that wants to bring us down. Same with RSI. Very tough to read. Stochastic is running up. Our money flow wants to give up some strength here. I would watch it. We are at 38. We keep bouncing between this 38 and 27. If we break below this 27, we could see a bearish trend start, and we could see this VWAP start to favor the bearish side. So I would watch out for that possibility. Over on Anchor for the daily, we are trying to make a pretty decent move forward. We are well above this pattern, so I'm going to delete it for now. But just keep in mind, we do still have that gap to the downside. So I'm not quite saying we're going to propel forward and continue forward and the bottom's in, especially since we have some gaps to the downside yet to fill. Remember, we're filling some gaps to the upside right now that were older. Our stochastic here is starting to round away. RSI is starting to taper. Momentum's starting to waver. That VWAP is getting slightly lower highs and starting to head down. That money flow is maintaining bullish strength. I would watch it though as it's zigzagging around. It keeps touching that neutral, so if it breaks through that neutral, it could be very fragile and break to the downside. But we do have the possibility for a cup and handle to form if we continue forward. Or we could make a handle here. If we made a handle here, that'd be obviously a weaker move that would push us to that value area low. If we broke right here, it would push us slightly higher. Not very much difference. Over on the 4 hour, if I can get this to look right, we are pushing forward. Our momentum is getting bearish divergence. Stochastic's getting bearish divergence. RSI is overall trending out. Our VWAP is pushing into the bullish territory. It is zigzagging around, maintaining our trend, but our money flow does look like it is meeting some resistance right around this 29. So if it starts to taper off here and breaks below this 10, I would watch for a bearish pattern or a bearish trend to start. Over on the 2 hour, surprised we don't have any gaps here with how we ran up. But our RSI is pushing forward, stochastic's pushing forward, momentum's propelling forward, that money flow is ramping up. Our VWAP's trying to head up, but it's starting to round away, so I would keep an eye on it. If this VWAP doesn't get a continual higher high or consistent high, and we start inching our way out, this propel forward could be eaten up, and we could see it overall over prices as we do have that gap. That stochastic does want to make a bearish cross. We have a red dot on our momentum and our RSI that want to bring us down. We are getting a pretty decent break away from this just propelled candle forward, just this God candle. Our money flow is overall pushing out. That VWAP's pushing out. So I would keep a close eye on things. It does look like we are getting a bit exhausted and that we could start to trend out. This could be an up channel that could end up breaking us down overall. Over on XRP for the daily, we do have a green dot here, so that is unlike the rest of the market. The rest of the market's pumping with no indication that it wants to continue to pump. This is trying to say that we will have continued bullish action up, but the last time we got it, it wasn't very much, so it could hit us to our other resistance, like I said, and then we could get rejected there and pull back down and see lower price action. So I would watch out for that possibility. Our stochastic is pushing forward. It does want to get very tight. It looks like it's going to roll over and cross down soon, so that could start to weaken our RSI. Our RSI is continuing forward though. That momentum is pushing forward. That VWAP is maintaining a decent bullish trend, so that it could help propel us forward. If it keeps favoring this bullish side, we could see money flow get pulled back up above this neutral and a push forward. Right now we just got pushed under that resistance area, so if we do not flip it to support, then we could get rejected from this and maintain this flag. That is why I did not get rid of this flag yet. Over on the 4 hour, you can see now we're trying to pump above it. We're just going all over, fluctuating. Stochastic's rounding away. RSI wants to push up. Our momentum is starting to round away. Our money flow is pretty flat here, right around 16. It could start to break down from here, so I would watch out. That VWAP is starting to get lower highs. It is favoring the bullish side though, so that could help propel us forward, unless we continue with lower highs and lower lows and then start to favor the bearish side. If we do that and we start favoring the bearish side after again lower highs and lower lows, we could set up a bearish trend that would pull us away. This rising wedge kind of got played out and then we broke back up. So if you took any shorts on that, good on you. But that is example why you should try to take profits. You can see that was a wick. You wouldn't have been able to get all your profits likely if you sold at the bottom, if you had a large amount. So if you were trying to do that, you should have scaled out. Not financial advice, but that's one of the easiest ways and one of the ways most whales will do is they'll scale out or sell in batches. Our stochastic is trying to run up here. RSI is trying to head up. Our momentum wants to push forward. Our money flow wants to continue forward. That VWAP's favoring that bullish side, so we do have the potential to keep going forward. That VWAP, even though it's overall weakening, with it maintaining bullish strength, is pulling that money flow up and helping price action continue through these resistances. Over on the 1 hour, our stochastic's about to get a bearish cross and push down. RSI wants to push down. The momentum is starting to roll away. The money flow is starting to roll away. That VWAP is starting to roll. It did get rejected around an 11 where it's rejected a few times before, but it has rebounded with this trend. This trend, if you zoom out, could be a bit of an up channel that could end up pushing us down, so I would watch out for that possibility. We are testing our support, so if we come down with another red candle and break that support, we could see continued price action to the downside. However, if we break with a green candle or this red candle closes green, we could see continual price action up. Over on Algo for the daily, we are getting a pretty decent push forward. We are back within our pattern. We did try to get near our value area low, but we got pushed back a little bit. Our stochastic is pushing forward, RSI is pushing forward, our VWAP's continuing forward, and that money flow is on the bullish territory. The momentum does want to continue forward as our VWAP is pushing very strong, so that's helping propel things up. If that money flow starts to waver though, I would watch out for a lower low or a consistent low on the money flow, as that could give us a break to the downside. To watch for that, you would want to watch these lower time frames. That is why we cover all the time frames, the daily, 4 hour, 2 hour, 1 hour, because you want to watch the market. They all lead into each other. Our momentum on the 4 hours getting bearish divergence that could end up weakening us. Our stochastic is doing the same. The RSI wants to propel forward despite the stochastic being weak. The stochastic is making a bounce around that 30, so it is maintaining bullish trend. So that is why that RSI is continuing forward. If the stochastic rounds and breaks that 30, we could see RSI start to pull back and other indicators start to pull back as well. We are breaking well above this EMA level, so if we do not sustain above it, we could ultimately get rejected and see lower price action. That VWAP is at a bit of a high spot around that 15 again, so keep that in mind. Over on the 2 hour, we are getting a pretty strong move. This could have been a cup handle, would have been some goofy fake out like double handle or something right there that could have tried to propel us forward to this resistance. The momentum wants to propel forward. RSI wants to head forward. The stochastic's pushing forward. Our VWAP is maintaining bullish strength and favoring the bullish side. The money flow is pushing forward because we are favoring the bullish side. So if this continues, we could see price action continue to push forward. But like I said, these big green candles could likely be followed by big red candles, especially since we do have gaps to the downside. Again, real quick, if you haven't already, smash that like, we're almost done, and join us in the Discord. Our stochastic is getting a bearish cross that wants to push us lower. RSI is starting to head down. The momentum is starting to round out. This is on our 1 hour on Algorand. Our money flow is overall in a bearish trend. Starting, we are slightly getting lower highs, trying to make lower lows. So if we confirm lower lows, we could break to the bearish side. We would want to see a break below that 10.6 zone. If we start heading down there and we start favoring lower territory, we could ultimately see a pullback from here. That VWAP is starting to round away, so again, I would watch for some sort of pullback. Thank you for watching tonight's video. I hope you have a wonderful night.